do now, because I know the old feeling's still there. And when that goes, then if that feeling goes, I'll pack it in.
That music means Pat Nevin's ready to go. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you doing tonight?
Very well. I missed you at the Backpage pub in Fisbury. You and Ray Houghton with Kev last week. All was good?
Yeah, all fine. Thoroughly enjoyable. Good to actually hear the stories that Ray and I haven't actually shared together, because we've both got this common background of, you know, rough part of Glasgow, and one chose Ireland and one chose Scotland, and we got to the bottom of why we did.
Oh, I didn't realise you were in the rough part of Glasgow.
Oh, we were both in the rough. He was Castlemilk, I was Easterhouse. I mean, they are seriously rough parts of Glasgow. But no complaints. I enjoyed living there. It was a great place. But no, it was good to hear all that sort of Ray stuff firsthand, some of which I hadn't heard before. And obviously we was talking lots about the old days with Jack, etc. So, no, he's top man, Ray. Absolute top man. And the weird thing is, he left Scotland very early. He didn't lose his accent, did he? Wow, still got it.
Hang on. And how did Kilban do in presenting duties? That's a key question.
Yeah, cruised it. Absolutely cruised it. No problem at all. In fact, if I was you, I would basically kick him under the table.
No, I am. It's just that this job is too rubbish. He won't do it full time, so I'm safe. I'm fine.
Oh, see, the amount of time you need to do if you're really presenting, that's the killer.
No, do you know what it is, Pat? It's the stress that Joel goes through. That's what it is. Yeah, I couldn't live my life like that, I don't think.
Always things go wrong. Part of the reason why you're there. I mean, one of my jobs in the past has always been with guys that are starting off presenting, that sometimes ex-players or whatever, they bring me in as the kind of backup to make sure nothing goes wrong, and I'm thinking, you sure you want to do that? Because I've got this little part of me that wants to wind people up as well, but I think I'll do that next time with you, Kev.
Yeah, I'll wait for that one then.
So if we're talking stress, then for Swansea and Southampton this evening, that is kind of as stressful as it tends to get. They're in Swansea. Kick-off is in 10 minutes' time. Both on 33 points after 36 games. The odds are loser probably goes down this evening, along with West Brom and Stoke, which will save us going through all the various permutations. Swansea will have Stoke in the last game. Southampton have Man City, though they are 8 goals ahead of Swansea in goal difference. And then the likelihood is West Brom will go down. They will go down this evening if either Swansea or Southampton win this evening. We were just talking about Mark Hughes earlier on. He was feeling the stress and the pressure after the Everton game. Southampton have won just one of their last 10 league matches, and he was giving out about a free against Nathan Redmond, and he said John Moss, the referee, as usual, 30 yards behind the play, gave a free kick. And he was asked if he'd spoken to John Moss, and he said, what's the point? He's probably getting his breath back. So I would say cranky.
I mean, they do feel the pressure. I mean, it's worse. It's much, much worse at the bottom than it is at the top. I mean, managers do talk about that. And even though it's usually the same thing that's, you know, on the line for the manager, i.e., you'll get a sack if you don't get it. If you're one of the top clubs and you don't get into the top 4, or if you're one of the bottom clubs and you get relegated, the outcome's the same. But it's just more stressful down the bottom because there's added embarrassment to that too. Just the word failure. I mean, nobody goes into it feeling and believing they're a failure. And certainly Mark Hughes doesn't feel that way. And he never felt that way in his career. And you can tell that he takes every single bit of it personally. Even the stuff that isn't personal and aimed at him, he takes it. So, but that's just the way it is. That's just the gig. That's what you have to deal with. And he'll just want his players to have the kind of, you know, the resolve and the fight that he's showing just now and that he showed all the way through his career. They've showed actually a decent amount of fight each time that I've watched them play. And I wouldn't be blaming the referees most of the time. To be honest, a lot of the time with Southampton, it's been really bad luck. You know, it's not pure luck that you're down there and you may get relegated. But part of it is they have carried no luck at all the times that I've watched them this season. And sometimes that's the team that goes down, the one that's carrying no luck. And they feel, sometimes the players just feel this as if everything is against you and it's just not going to happen. He needs to drum that out of them.
Pat, if Mark Hughes and Southampton were to get relegated this evening, given what Peter Coates has said today, certainly the last 24 hours, admitting it was a mistake not to sack Mark Hughes earlier than he actually did, Where does Mark Hughes go from here in this one? Because essentially, you could make the argument, I suppose, he's taken 2 clubs down. He hasn't necessarily got the response quick enough from Southampton, and of course what he did at Stoke earlier on this season.
Yeah, but then you make the argument he did okay at Manchester City. You know, he's been given opportunities different places. You know what it's like just now? He is one of the guys that's on that transfer merry-go-round, you know, of the managerial merry-go-round, and he'll almost certainly get another job, because to some degree, even though you take teams down, you have to remember how many teams are likely to be in that battle to go down. You know, it is a very small, finite bunch of teams. And he's kept teams up more often than they've gone down. And he had a good little period with Stoke there. I mean, I thought there was a short period when, you know, the likes of Bojan came in and Afellay, and they were playing well, and Arnautovic was playing well, Shaqiri was playing well. And not only were they doing well, you know, the top half of the table, but they were playing really interesting football as well. And he was trying to change them into something different. The problem is, it just didn't keep on going. And yeah, it'll have an effect on him, but I still think he'll get more jobs. The next one may have to be a championship one, though.
Yeah. Kev, you've seen both sides across the season. Why are they here?
Probably goals. Ultimately, it is really. There's a few of the sides. Stoke have been relegated this weekend because of the lack of goals as well. They had that kick Swansea initially when Carvalhal took over, but that's fallen by the wayside recently. Again, no goals in the last 3 games for Swansea. I was at the game against Chelsea last week, and there was no real atmosphere generated around the ground. There was no real buzz there. Now, tonight, this is very different. I know you're playing against a Chelsea side who, up until the last 10 or 15 minutes of the game, were fairly comfortable, actually, Chelsea in the match. As for Stoke have, you probably look at it, missed opportunities, drawn. I think there's only Brighton in the bottom half of the table that's lost more games than them. And it's the draws, 15 draws this season. Pat spoke about a little bit of bad luck, missing chances, not being able to keep Charlie Austin fit across the course of the season, suspended as well. These things come back to bite you, I think, with Southampton. Swansea themselves, it's just... It's all or nothing tonight, I feel. That's the way it has to be for them. I mean, Southampton still will have a chance if Swansea lose with the goal difference. But if Southampton win tonight, they're down more or less, really, unless they can topple Huddersfield.
A real simple technical thing was watching them time and again, and they're creating chances sometimes, and they're getting in good positions. And then you look at, you know, Charlie Austin, you better put the ball on a plate for him, because he ain't going to run away from anyone. And neither is Gabbiadini, because they're just miles away from the pace that you expect from centre forwards in the Premier League. So the only guy with real pace as a centre forward is Shane Long, and he just wasn't scoring enough goals, so you couldn't trust him to play him every single week. And if you've got that problem, if you're a bunch of defenders, you're thinking, well, we can deal with you now, because we just stand 2 yards off you, because you ain't going to run past us. So then it's all about making sure you get, you know, clever enough to get through. They've not been doing that often enough. Get enough crosses in. Again, that's been a bit of a problem for them as well. But in the Premier League, how many teams really struggle if they've not got somebody with a bit of pace up front that actually scores some goals? And they've just not had that.
So we'll see how that one unfolds. The really interesting question then concerns Liverpool at the moment from the weekend, Pat. No goal from any top 4 side, interestingly, over the weekend, which, well, I don't know how long you have to go back until that last happened. But on the Liverpool front, Salah, Mane, Firmino all started no goal. First time since January that's happened for them. Chelsea looked back to kind of a glimpse of the organised team defensively we saw last season, and they won 1-0. The question that Liverpool fans are anxiously toying with at the moment is this a squad, again, which we saw blow up last January 2017, last season, and ran out of steam, or is this a side which is saving itself for a Champions League final? And it's tricky to know which is which.
Do you know what? The fact is, even if they blow up now, I will applaud them, because I thought they would blow up months ago. Because we've said it time and time again, that's not a deep enough squad, or it shouldn't be a deep enough squad. But they've managed to keep Salah in form continuously all the way through it. They've managed to, you know, all 3 up front have generally not really dropped their form too much, so that's been a massive part of them. The biggest worry for them, yes, there will be a bit of tiredness. Remember, they were going to be physically and emotionally tired after that semi-final, and Chelsea was the worst game that they could possibly get in that situation. Also, Conte had amazing tactics in that game. They're absolutely fantastic tactics. He conned me completely. I watched the first few minutes of it. I'm sure you both watched it as well. Chelsea didn't get a touch of the ball for the first 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm thinking, Are you asleep? And then I was watching it from really on high, and I realised, wait a minute, sometimes it's easier to see the system and the tactics. And what he'd done was he played the back five, and then he played three midfielders, which obviously was Kante, Fabregas, and Bakayoko, but they never engaged. And it just sat back there. And I thought, oh, you're doing this deliberately. You're just killing space so that Liverpool have got nowhere to break into.
Yeah.
And Liverpool had absolutely no answer to it, none at all. And even though they had all the possession, I sat there after the goal was scored thinking, Chelsea are home and hosed here. They're not going to lose this game. There was not a slightest bit of concern from me that we'd lose this game. So Real Madrid will notice that A, there's a little bit of tiredness. Yes, you're right. B, okay, maybe they slightly sat off it against Chelsea, but I'm not sure that was the case. But C, and more worryingly, that's how you stop Liverpool. And that's a worry. And even they've got the bigger, they worry about the Champions League final later. They've got to win against Brighton next week. They absolutely got to win against Brighton next week, because I can't see Chelsea losing any of their last two games the way they're playing just now. And it's that thought. Kevin and I, we talked about it, didn't we, last week?
Yeah.
I'd said when Liverpool had a big gap over Chelsea, looked at the fixtures and thought, Chelsea might catch them. Well, I think they will catch Liverpool now, but I don't know if they will overtake them, and it might just be goal difference that does it. But it's a number of things. A, small squad. B, yes, you're getting tired at this point in the season. C, I think a couple of teams are beginning to suss a couple of things out about Liverpool now, which means basically sitting back and not letting them get behind you.
If it's a little bit of all of those things, Kev, that's a bad combination.
No, it is. It is, of course. The thing that goes in the favour after that Brighton game, they can just push towards the Brighton game. They have a 2-week break, so they can, take a few days out, do whatever they need to do, and then become fully focused over an 8-10 day period ahead of that big Champions League game. But there are a number of things. I've been quite surprised that he hasn't, decided to rest more of that front three and just said, look, lads, we've got it secure now. I suppose that result against West Brom, the result against Everton, and the draw against who did they play last week? Was it West Brom? No, was it West Brom? I don't know. The three draws that they've had anyway in the games that
Stoke, wasn't it?
Stoke, sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
Those three draws that they've had, they're the ones that it was West Brom as well. They actually drew away at West Brom. They were 2-0 up, and that would have just got them over the line.
Stoke was when Salah missed that chance.
That's it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I think he could have actually just said to him, look, take Salah off, take Mane off, give them a little bit more time, because I think they do. I'd be interested to have a look at the running stats and see the high intensity that they would have actually been playing at, because I'm sure that the running stats would have been down because they've not looked as dynamic in the last 3 or 4 matches. And that's, again, as Pat said, it's understandable given that the relative depth, the lack of depth in that squad.
The interesting thing is whether or not their stats are down because they're actually wrecked and they're feeling flat, or if
sides are playing
on
away
some level they're
to nullify it.
Well, I know, but also unless on some level they're just preserving themselves.
Probably.
Like there was even a moment where I'd love to know what the truth is, where a Chelsea player was clearing the ball and Salah had maybe a 15-yard sprint to go and maybe stop him, and could have kind of got there and did the first 3 or 4 yards, like made a bit of an effort, but then kind of checked up in good time, like made no real effort to get the ball. And I'm watching thinking, are you just shattered, or if that's Champions League night,
there's got to be
you're going to be all over them.
It's got to affect the mindset though, Pat, hasn't it?
For that, I think that's a great point you made there. And I actually think there was a reason for it, and it was Rudiger. Rudiger is, I had to look at some stats earlier in the season, and he was the second fastest player in the league. Now, Salah has tried to run him 2 or 3 times early on in that game and realised, I am much slower. No, that's not the right way to say it. I'm not as fast as Rudiger. So he knows he's not going to get away from him, and constantly Rudiger was all over him like a rash. Rudiger's a fabulous marker, an absolutely fantastic marker, top draw marker. And I think at some point in that game he just thought, there's no point in me doing these sprints against him. I'm just wrecking myself, and I ain't going to beat him for pace. So it was part of, yes, may have been tired, but there's another part of it was, I know I can't beat this guy for pace. And it really got inside Salah's head. Yeah,
that's another layer as well. It's all very interesting. And one quick final one on the Liverpool situation with Madrid coming, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about that game. Are Madrid, they're certainly not in the habit of doing what Chelsea did on Sunday. Are they capable, do you think?
You asked the correct question once again. And that's why I was dying to say it there. Real Madrid are the right team for Liverpool to play. It's great news, I think, for Liverpool fans. I think if they'd been facing up against a Juventus or maybe even arguably a Bayern, I think it would have been a bigger worry for Liverpool, because there is a different kind of mentality defensively. You know, they will do that. But you just know that Marcelo's not going to stay back. You know, it's just not going to happen. They're going to go and attack in that way as well. Not as extreme as Liverpool, but they're not going to play an ultra-clever game against Liverpool. And that absolutely falls into Liverpool's strength. So had it been the other teams, I think Liverpool would have been massive outsiders. In the Real Madrid, I think they're just slightly outsiders, but I still think they've got a great chance now. And that 2 weeks that Kev's talking about there, that they're going to be able to rest, that'll make a big difference as well.
Kev, you watched United Brighton on Friday night.
Yeah, poor showing, Joe, again. Poor showing. United had a couple of chances, but no energy in the team. Serious lack of energy throughout the side.
We weren't able to motivate ourselves, was one of the Mourinho quotes. So it was Rashford, Martial and Mata.
Yeah.
Who went through the middle?
Rashford through the middle. Rashford played as a 9, where the thoughts are that he will actually be a number 9 eventually. He's played a lot of his time, we know, on the left. But it just didn't happen, Joe. It wasn't happening for them at all. Brighton deserved it. You think Brighton deserved to win the match? The goal line technology came in, of course, and I mean, you're not going to see a closer goal, are you? Closer to it being over the line. But just United lacked in so many different ways. You have to applaud to Chris Hughton for the job he's done, and now they're secure for another season in the Premier League. And so Mourinho talked about it after the game, saying they had a purpose. To us, finishing second didn't seem like it mattered. It was quite telling that his choice of words in this post-match press conference, Jose Mourinho, was quite telling, I thought. He's
also acutely aware that Manchester United fans don't want, well, for one, Anthony Martial to go anywhere. And so he made a point of, without naming them, certainly throwing Rashford and Martial under whatever bus was coming their way. Here's a short clip.
We were not ready to prove that the second position is important for us. So I am disappointed because the second position is important for me. I'm not sure if every one of my players is disappointed. I'm not sure.
Jose, does it disappoint you that with an FA Cup final place to play for, so many of those players that you're talking about were so flat tonight?
I think you should be disappointed. You, when I say you, I say media in a general way, because for many months you are always asking me why this player doesn't play, why that player doesn't play, why this player is on the bench, why always Lukaku, why always this guy. So I think you should be disappointed, more than me, because probably I know my players better than you, and probably you don't know them so well to be always with these questions.
So that raises the interesting question here, Pat. And his face was a picture when Rashford didn't square the ball for Martial as well. And then Martial, it really does seem, is out of there and not happy. Have we all seen the early glimpses of Rashford and Martial and the pace and some of the goals and just thought these guys are fantastic? And actually, have we overrated them? Are they, or would these guys, would Rashford and Martial flourish at Manchester United under Alex Ferguson or under a different coach? And that is the question, and it's fairly clear what Mourinho thinks, certainly about Martial.
Well, two things. Can you remember a number of years back, Januzaj came into Manchester United's team, and everybody thought, wow, he is phenomenal, he is the future, and he just about basically disappeared, because he looked as if he had everything. But you need to have all the skill, all the ability, but a mentality that is totally different, a mentality that has to be... And it's an overused, hackneyed phrase, but you've got to be a winner at the top level. Now, Mourinho is basically turning around to people and saying, do you know what? If you do not think you can win every game at the very top level and perform at the very top level, my standards are that high. Are yours that high? Now, I'm not going to call them snowflakes, but you know where I'm going here. The snowflakes of the modern world don't want to be shouted at. And certain professionals, I'm not saying Rashford's one of them, but certain professionals can't take it, can't take the hits that you have to take from certain managers. I don't think there's actually anything wrong with this time and what Mourinho's saying. He's just saying, I have a standard. My standard is world class. Are you going to be there at it? And if you're not, I'm just going to tell you. And do you know what? I'm okay with that now. I'm fine with that. I think that's a not a bad thing, because I do believe if you do mollycoddle players, you get a certain standard out of them. But there are certain players that will not reach their absolute maximum because they might just like soft pedal to some degree. He will never allow that with anyone. And that's one of his ways of making it happen. I've watched him do it before. I watched him do it at Chelsea. He didn't have to do it with some of those guys down there because they had a phenomenal mentality. He expects that for anyone who pulls on a red shirt now. And there's a bit in me that kind of thinks, yeah, I get that.
Kev, what's your read on Rashford Martial at this stage of their careers?
Well, Marcus Rashford, Pat spoke about maybe Januzaj there. I've seen a different level from Rashford, certainly to what Januzaj did. I've liked him. I think he's brought pace and energy to the games. I think his goal scoring record is not the greatest, but I think that's partly down to the position he's been played as well at times. Martial's another one. He's so talented.
Talented. I mean, I like the thought that he's going to leave the club. I would say there's Manchester United fans.
Potential for both to leave the club, though, Joe.
How serious is the Rashford talk?
Well, there's been ongoing talk of Tottenham, hasn't there? This one that won't go away. Whether or not Tottenham are going to be able to get him and prize him away, but there's always that other issue with United as well, and this issue of youth team players that have come in to represent the club. They've got a history of producing players and having youth team players that have been produced through their own system playing in United's matchday squads. So that's got to play into Mourinho's mind.
Well, I would just think there is an argument that Mourinho will, for whatever reason, because he's just, particularly lately, but you're going to be talking about Martial and Rashford if they leave the club in potentially the same way you talk about De Bruyne or Salah. Might not get quite to those heights, but that these are really brilliant attacking players.
I'll tell you something. The De Bruyne and Rashford have shown more than De Bruyne and Salah shown.
Say again?
Sorry, I repeat that twice. Martial and Rashford have shown more for Man United than De Bruyne and Salah showed at Celtic, at Chelsea.
But it still seems that it's not enough. It still seems he's seen something in them he doesn't like, and there's a fair argument he's getting it wrong.
Yeah.
But he knows them, as he said in that clip, I know them better than you do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. He's judging them every day. You would like to think that he's having the conversation with the players individually, maybe even showing them clips, showing them videos. I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Whatever it will be, that conversation has to be had with those players. Yeah. He can't be coming out saying what he's saying without having private internal conversation with them. That's the way that I would see it anyway.
Well, I think Manchester United fans would worry, Pat.
Yeah. At no point have I thought that Rashford's ready to be the Manchester United centre forward. I don't think there's any point I've felt that. I've thought he's good enough at the moment to be one of the wide attackers, but to be the core man who plays on point with the strength that you need there, strength of character you need there, the natural ability to score easy goals as well. I'm taking nothing away from him. I think he's a brilliant player, but I don't think he's Manchester United centre forward yet. I think he's miles away from that yet.
Miles away, okay.
I'm with you.
And what about Martial then?
I still think he should be a first team player, and I still think he should start every week, and I think he should start for England as well. But he's a wide attacker.
And what about Martial?
He's a 10, and he's been played out in the left wing. The problem is there's far too many 10s hanging about that club, and B, they generally don't play with a 10. So you're struggling. The system they play doesn't always allow that. So there's many times that, we've used this phrase a lot before, but, right player, wrong club, or right player, wrong time. And that can be the case as well. You absolutely could put Martial or Rashford in lots of other clubs that would suit them much better, but that's just because of the system they're playing, would suit them better. But at the moment in Premier League levels, I don't know if anyone would be, a top 4 centre forward, but both of them are well capable of playing with just about any club, in slightly different positions.
Okay, so maybe I'm getting a touch carried away on it then. So we'll see what happens all over the summer. Pat, we'll leave it there. Thanks a million.
Pleasure, guys.
Thanks, Pat. Thanks. Pat and Evan there. Short break.
Off the ball on News Talk.
Hello, I'm Brendan Kavanagh, CEO of GDPRcourse.com. Are you confused and worried about the effect and cost of GDPR on your business? GDPR is serious for all businesses, large and small. But don't get ripped off by large consultancy fees and expensive seminars that will tell you thousands of euros later that you need to train your staff. Go to GDPRcourse.com and train your staff and management online in a low-cost and time-efficient way. GDPRcourse.com.
The Aer Lingus summer sale has been extended, so there's even more time to bring on the sun. Say goodbye to dull days with up to 20% off destinations across Europe, from June right up to the end of September. See the sights in Barcelona or Milan, or relax on the beach in Malaga with amazing deals on our European city and sun destinations. Smart bags a great summer bargain. Smart flies Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
I'm sorry, you can sit there and look and play with